Alright, so today I'm going to be going through all the bikes that I've had over the years of riding, and all the parts, and all the parts I've broken. Alright, so this was my first ever bike. I got it back in 2013 or 2014, I can't remember, but it was a Miracle. I don't remember the version, but it lasted a while. So these were the stock bars on my Miracle, my first bike. As you can see, both sides are bent down pretty bad, and there's like indentions where they started to bend, so I'm pretty lucky I switched before they snapped or something. I'm not sure why they are. I think they're like 5 inches or something crazy, but yeah, these were the bars. This was a stem that came with the Miracle. I mean, what can I say? It's a stem. It never broke on me. The only thing is that at the time I didn't know how to work on my bike properly, so all of these bolts are stripped. And if you're gonna get a bike, let someone who knows how to work on bikes to loosen that or tighten them. So these are forks. The drop bars are still straight and all. Nothing broke. They didn't bend on me ever when I first started. I'll paint them eventually, like in the future when I need them for spare forks. That's really it. Still have the original, like, star nut. I don't know if you can see that. This was my front hub that was on the Miracle, and unfortunately I don't have my wheels that came with the bike, or my cassette. I gave the cassette to one of my friends, and I don't know what he did with that, so that's history. But as you can see, there's no axle or bearings, and that was because I've always had problems with my front hub, like breaking bearings from, like, I don't know, drops that I do or stairs. But at the time I wasn't really doing them. I just think the quality of the bearings were not good. They were unsealed, so they weren't as strong as the ones I have now, which means, like, if I break one bearing it would crack and all of them would basically just fall out and the axle would be loose, and that was that. Like, but a lot of times I also crack the inside of the hub. I'm not sure how it's possible, but it happens to me a lot and I hate it. I only have one crank from my first bike, and it was 3-piece, but for some reason it had like this weird like indentation, and I would always bend them, like if the bike fell like on the pedal like that, like hard. And these aren't the original pedals, but I'll get to that right now. And these were the original pedals that came on the Miracle. They never broke, but the axles just became like really loose, and like the pedals would wobble a lot, and I never figured out how to tighten them, so that was that. The pins are still there. Some of them are broken off and all scratched, obviously, because they're pedals. They hit the ground a lot, but what can I say? They're pedals. They're not broken or anything, but yeah. My original chain was white, but I put this one on shortly after it snapped, so that was that. It stretched really bad, but I just eventually got a new bike. My first bike actually has a lot of history. It's an 18-inch, so it was actually short. Like, usually frames are 20-inch or 21. But I was pretty short at the time. I still am short, but it was a good size for me at the time when I first started. And actually, that was my first ever sticker that I got from Dance Camp when I ordered a shirt or something. I don't remember what it was. And this sticker was one of our bike shops, our local bike shops in our town, and they actually closed, so I think it's pretty cool that I still have the stickers on there. And I have the original Miracle sticker. It says United States Miracle Bicycle Co. And this isn't the original sprocket. Fernando's always bugging me about this sprocket. He wants it so bad, because I guess it's because it's thick and it's pretty strong. But Fernando, if you're watching this, I'll get it off eventually. So that was my first bike, the Miracle. Brings back a lot of memories of when me and family used to go to the skate park a lot, and we met a lot of cool people while in that time period that don't really ride anymore, so that kind of sucks, but always brings back memories, and yeah. So this was my second bike. It was a Redline Syntax, 2014, I believe, or 2015. Um, so I'll get to those parts. So these were the bars. They're not bent or anything like my Miracle ones, but I was cutting them at the time when I had the bike, or when I still rode the bike. And I just never finished cutting the ends because I was going to try bar spins. And my pipe cutter ended up breaking, so I just never finished. And that was it. So this was a stem on the Redline. Like I said, a stem is a stem. I've never broken one. I just stripped the bolts a lot, and the only cool thing I liked about it the most was the middle is like hollow, so you can see through it. I'm not sure what brand it is. It just says Hollow Point. I guess that's why that's there. But it was a stem. I flipped it most of the time to make my bars higher. When I used to ride park a lot. Yep, that was a stem. So these were the forks on the Redline. They're not broken or anything. They're just pretty scratched, and I'm probably going to paint them later on to use them as spare forks. Drop parts aren't bent. I still have the original like top cap and everything. They never broke, never bent. So they've always been reliable. So these are the cranks. They're Redline Monster cranks. The bars and the forks are Redline Monster also, and the frame is just called Redline Syntax. But as you can see, they're pretty worn, they're scratched. Got an Apple sticker right there from a while ago. They're not broken either. I'm probably just going to paint them like the forks. Use them as spare cranks if I ever break mine. I'm never breaking a pair of cranks, so yeah. So this was my back rim on the Redline. It's the Alienation Black Sheep. It's a pretty good rim. I just bent it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's bent pretty bad. And there's a chunk taken out of it from when I was grinding one time, and I clipped the rail really hard. Like that part hit the rail, and I just took a giant chunk out of it. So after that, it was just ruined. Like, you can see the bend, and that's right there because I'm actually hanging it on my wall in my room. So my front rim, it was just an Alienation PBR, so it was just like a regular stock rim. There was nothing special about it. That's also hanging in my wall, but it's not broken or anything. I'm just hanging it. Now down to the frame. It's cracked. It's broken. It's actually funny because in one of our webisodes, we actually show you what looks like dirt on the bottom tube, but it was actually the crack that started this. And Fernando actually broke it. I let him ride it last summer, and it broke on a 180 out of one of the ramps of the skate park. And that 180 was like less than a foot, so it was really funny when it happened. We heard a loud pop, and we looked down. It was just like split in half. And it was a good frame while it lasted. I think I started the crack because I got this frame around the time where I started doing bigger drops and bigger stair sets. So all the impact was cracked over time. We just never knew. We thought it was dirt because it looked like dirt. So this was my second bike. It was like an intermediate level type bike. It was all good until the frame snapped, or I cracked it on all the drops and stair sets. So it took a beating before that broke. All the other parts are still fine. The rims also bent. I think that was also from drops and all, like because they bent rims also. So I have a problem with that. Yeah, that was it. So this was my third bike that I've had, all stock parts. I believe it was a 2012 Stolen Sinner. And so I'll show you these parts. Here are the bars that came on the Stolen. I think they're 7.5 rise, but they never broke. They're still like perfect bars. They're just too low for my liking. I usually ride 9 rise or 10 rise, even though I'm short and all. I just like the high raised bars. They feel better to me. They don't hurt my back as much as low bars. Yeah. So this was my stolen stem. The problem I had with this was when I got the bike, actually, like a few weeks later, my headset was loose. So I tried to loosen these bolts on the side, and I ended up stripping one, like really bad. So I ended up having to drill out this side. So all the threads are gone. It's useless. I mean, I could tighten the other side, but it wouldn't be as strong. The front bolts are, I'm pretty sure they're stuck in there. I don't remember how or why, but they are. It was a good stem while it lasted. I literally just noticed this, but they're also bent, so they're pretty messed up. Like when I put them flat on the ground, they're like, and the fork neck just usually sits straight, so it shouldn't be doing that. So that's pretty funny. But these are the forks. I guess they're pretty messed up. I can't use them anymore. Yep. So this was the front wheel that came with the stolen. The bearings gone. They were sealed bearings, so they were like the strong ones. And they're not there because the axle I had also stripped. I just never ended up fixing it. I think it's a little bent, but like not noticeable. But the bearing's still on this side. But that was it, and it's really thick. So it's good for like a lot of impact and all that when you land hard. So yeah, I like it. Still, I just have to fix it. There's not as much history as there is in my first two bikes, but I always like this frame. Like, I'm probably gonna run it again in the future, to be honest. And I'll also fix the front wheel. The back wheel, actually, I forgot to tell you, Fernando has right now, so he's running it right now. And it's not broken so far on him. So, the back wheel is still good also. The tires, I forgot about the tires. I had Demolition Momentum tires for this bike. The Miracle had, it was some brand called Vise, but they're really skinny and like the tread on them just went out really fast because it was like a beginner bike. And the Miracle also had Demolition Momentums, and the Demolition tires are my favorite. I'm not sure why, but I just like the grip with them and how they're so like wide. I don't know. I just like that. So this is my current bike that I'm riding right now. It's a Kink 2016, and honestly, I think it's the strongest stock bike I've had. Nothing is broken yet. The pedals and cranks I put on, so they're not stuck. I had pegs on before, and the axles haven't bent or anything like usual. But I really like it. It's a good bike. It's a advanced bike, and yeah. So in total, I've had 4 different stock bikes, and I've had bikes that have been a mixture of parts, but I think we're going to talk about that in a different video. But, yeah. More videos coming soon, webisodes, bike checks, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, subscribe, leave a like, comment, all that stuff. Thanks for watching.